forecast. Expect fair skies Tuesday through Thursday with temperatures in the 80s on Tuesday.
It's 50 after the hour and time for our tropical update with hurricane expert Dr. Steve Lyons. Good afternoon, Steve.
Morning.
As you know, Steve, there is an upper level low over this tropical storm Bill, yet it's expected to increase in strength in time. Why would that be when an upper level low is not favorable yet an increase in strength?
Well, we think that low is going to weaken and a little bit of high pressure is going to build over the top of it, Bob, and that's going to strengthen it enough to become a little stronger tropical storm. Currently, we don't think it's going to reach hurricane strength before the coast, but things can change in the tropics. And here's the latest information from the Hurricane Center. Current position 460 miles southeast of Port Arthur, Texas. That's about right where this tropical storm symbol is. It's moving to the northwest at 14 miles per hour, which is in this general direction, which is basically toward the general direction of between Houston and Lake Charles in that general direction, although we expect to turn more toward the north through time. Winds currently 40 miles per hour. We expect it to be closer to 60 by the time it gets to the coast over the next, 36 hours or so. Now, here's a close-up look at what's going on out there. Let me just show you a couple features here. First of all, the circulation center was in here. Notice all the thunderstorms are primarily to the northeast of the circulation center. The circulation center, when that happens, often tries to form back into the deep thunderstorm. So if there's a bias in our track, it's going to be more toward the north or toward the northeast of the official track now. So we'll be monitoring that, and the Hurricane Center has tasked the hurricane hunters to go out and look out there later this afternoon, and we'll see if there's a new center forming a little farther north. So we'll continue to monitor that. Keep in mind, though, that don't be too preoccupied with the exact track of the system because it's a very lopsided system, and there's a large area that's going to experience some significant rain to the east of the center. Well, to the west of the center, the winds are going to be offshore, and we don't expect too much rain. So it looks primarily like heavy rain at and east of the center. Here's that upper level low pressure system we're talking about spinning around almost right over the top of it, and here's that ridge trying to build back over the top of it in the deep thunderstorms. So sort of a fight right now. Notice these west winds coming in from the west. It's a fight to see which one's going to win, and right now we think it's going to be almost a stalemate with that convection winning slightly, so slight strengthening to stronger tropical storm. Projected path up toward the coast here, and keep in mind there's some uncertainty right now because the circulation is broad. If it reforms to the north, it would favor a track a little bit more toward the north or on the east side of our swath. We'll continue to update you on this particular swath of uncertainty. And because of that, we have some tropical storm watches up. These will be transitioned to warnings within about 24 to 30 hours of landfall. Right now we're about 36 hours out. So later tonight or early tomorrow morning we may see some of these changed to warnings and some watches go up in other locations as well. What else is going on in the tropics? The good news there is nothing. The eastern Atlantic is quiet, and so is the Pacific, Bob.
Yeah, I want to get back to that path, Steve, that you were showing of Tropical Storm Bill. You just showed that. The location of the watches, though, along the coast seem to be further east than the center of that path. Why is that?
Well, right now we see most of the strong winds in that core of deep thunderstorms well to the east of the center.
Okay.
The west of the center, where it's clear, we're looking at satellite winds and see only about 10 to 15 miles per hour. So it's skewed to the east because that's where the stronger winds are, Bob.
And so relatively light to the west of the center.
That's correct.
All right. Thanks very much, Dr. Lyons. Well, let's take a look at what's going on in terms of our storm threat in the U.S. of A., and we find an area of red in the western part of Oklahoma. In fact, much of
The forecast for your area. Expect fair skies Tuesday through Thursday with temperatures in the 80s on Tuesday.
Good evening, I'm Cheryl Lemke. It's now 10 minutes before the top of the hour, and that means it's time for your tropical update. And tonight we're watching very closely Tropical Storm Bill, which continues to spin its way across the Gulf of Mexico. And now let's get the very latest on what we can expect from Bill with our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons. Steve?
Well, thanks, Cheryl. We continue to watch something that is accelerating toward the coast. It looks like about this time tomorrow evening it should be on shore at the rate it's going right now if it doesn't slow down. Let's look at the latest information from the Hurricane Center. This is a 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time advisory. It was 325 miles south of Morgan City, Louisiana, moving north-northwest at 13, and maybe moving more like 15 or 16 right now. You can see the circulation center right there, and notice that little hook in orange in the center. I'll show you that in a little more detail in a second. It's indicating that it's getting a little more potent than it was earlier today at the time of the advisory, 45 miles per hour. Here's a visible satellite image, and you can see now the core of the circulation is becoming much better defined. Not there, but right up here where the arrow is, right there. And the core of convection is starting to co-locate with it, which indicates that there's a possibility for strengthening. We don't think it's going to have time to reach hurricane strength, but it could become a pretty strong tropical storm by the time it comes to the north and then turns off to the northeast after landfall. Most of the heavy rain remains to the east of the circulation, and so when we look at the overall warnings from High Island, Texas, over to Pascagoula, Mississippi, and the circulation center being roughly about right here, we expect most of the impact to be in the eastern half of this warning area, primarily due to rainfall. So when we look at the impacts here, wind, typically tropical storms don't do that much damage wind-wise. Waves are running about 15 to 18 feet offshore, but where it's going to make landfall, the waves will be breaking way out and are not a big issue. Surge 4 to 7 feet, maybe a little less than that depending on how strong at landfall. Could produce some minor coastal flooding, but the rainfall locally, this is not going to be widespread, but local rainfall could be significant flooding-wise. So we'll keep you informed on that. And keep in mind, the remainder of the Atlantic is quiet tonight, as is the Eastern Pacific. Cheryl?
All right, thanks a lot. That was Dr. Steve Lyons, our hurricane expert, and we'll be checking back with Dr. Lyons periodically throughout the rest of the evening. In the meantime, though, let's kind of switch gears and let's check out some other trouble areas for tonight. Now, we have two concern regions. Really, we have a threat for a lot of flooding across the deep south. Also, the possibility for some strong thunderstorms, too. Now, especially be mindful that some of these thunderstorms tonight could be producing some hail, very gusty winds, certainly some torrential downpours, but of course, too, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see maybe some tornadoes. And actually, right now for Pasco County, just north of Tampa, there is a tornado warning. So if you live in Pasco County, Florida, please seek shelter immediately. You'll want to go inside to a very sturdy building, go to the lowest level of that building, preferably stay away from windows too, and really just kind of guard yourself against some threatening conditions across the region. We have a lot of tropical moisture that continues to kind of linger around the Gulf coastal region, making the atmosphere very moist, very unstable, and very conducive for some thunderstorms, especially when you add in some afternoon heating. Then across the Great Lakes and back over towards the Plain States, a frontal boundary that is also serving as the focus for some thunderstorms. Across the Northeast, we've had a few spotty showers and thunder showers here and there, primarily affecting New York State. Really overall, though, no big deal, and it remains very quiet tonight if you're stepping out for dinner around Boston. Still no problems either for New York City, Philadelphia, or Washington, D.C. To the south, though, again, we're seeing some showers and thunderstorms blossoming. Do watch out for some very heavy downpours. Back into Texas, the warnings continue for Knox County. More warnings, too, for parts of New Mexico, including Quay and Guadalupe counties.
Confident feeling. Reliable results. Powerful products. Strong support. Worry-free, trouble-free. Free to enjoy. You can have it all with Bioguard. Knowledgeable dealers with advanced technology. Innovative programs make pool care simple. Bioguard, great pool care. Expected. Pick up this Fun for All swim set, free with purchase at your participating Bioguard dealer.
Visit a Bioguard pool and spa care dealer near you. Bioguard, great pool care. Expected.
If
You know the expression, show me the numbers.
Bloomberg Television, now exclusively on CN8, weekdays 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern.
Now, from Evening Edition, here's your local on the 8s.